everybody, Basket here. Welcome back to TIS-100, a programming game. So, we're going to continue on with our quest. Sequence Peak Detector. So, just to get a reference of what we are trying to compete against. 6 nodes and about that many lines of code, and then this is hard to predict. So, we'll go ahead and head in. Sequences are zero terminated, correct. Read a sequence from in, okay. Write the min value in to I, and write the max to A. Okay. So in this case, they have these, and we want to output the lowest one to I, the highest one to here. Okay. So he used 6. Interesting. Well, at the very least, we need to start moving stuff from up down. So we need to keep track of the min. Okay, so let's move up, down. Yeah, so we'll want to, once we actually get a 0, we need to make something happen. So let's do this. I need to store them somewhere. So let's just move it down again. When it gets to here, let's move up into the register. Oh, wait, but we want to hold on to the register, maybe. Well, let's suppose that we're going to keep the lowest one in backup. So we'll move it into the register. And then we will, so maybe we'll first swap. Oh, but we don't want, so I guess 0 is never a valid answer, because that would be the terminated string. So we don't have to worry about the 0 counting. Okay. So if the value we get is a 0, so jump, if it's 0, that means that we're done. So jump to done. Done is, oh, and we actually, I'm sorry, we want to save. So then we want to swap, grab the thing out of the register, and we want to send that down, move the current register down, and we want to tell our neighbor, I guess in either case, we want to send this also to the right. So move the register to the right, just so that it's aware also. Down here, then we want to send the register down, so that's the lowest value. And then we're done. So we want to set the register back to 0. All right, now I have to figure out, okay, so if it's not a 0, then I need to figure out if it's less than, so I saved it. So at this point, so I want to have both the backup and the register as the current good value. If the thing I received is a 0, I assume I got stuff. Is there any point where I didn't get anything? No. Okay. Where it's like 0 and 0, so I don't know what I would do in that case. All right, so I want to, let's assume I have back has the value. So we want to we want to, yeah, I guess I only have to use more cells. Well, here's what I can do. Let's have this hold on to it. And then move it down. And then if it is 0, so I guess if it's greater than 0, I want to jump to, or no, if it is 0, I only want to do it once. So go back up to the start. So if it's 0, we only want to send it down once. Otherwise, we want to send it down a second time. So what we're going to do here is assume that at this point we've set it up so that both these things are the lowest value. I is lowest. Yeah. So if the number is, so we want to say subtract. So if the number coming in yeah, how do we do it with the 0? If we have a 0 here, we want to just keep it. So I guess, I suppose at this point we have it in our hand. Okay, all right. Let me try to make sense. So at this point here, we've decided that somehow we're going to make it so that both these two values are our current value, or we're keeping track of. If this number is 0, then we want to store whatever value is coming in. So store, we're going to run out of space, I bet. Store is going to be take the value he's going to be sending it twice. So that complicates things. But so we're going to store the value, which is just put the whatever's up and put it in the register and then save. And then what is all this? Okay, we don't need this. Maybe. If it is 0 in our hand, we want to store whatever's coming in. Okay. Otherwise, if we didn't store it because what's in our hand is not 0, so this will take whatever's here, put it in our hand, and then make both these two equal. So this resets it back to our regular hand. So if it's not 0 coming in, we will want to subtract up. What that's going to say is the value that comes in, I want to subtract it. So if it's, let's say 5, and then the value coming in is 6, is there any case where they're equal? I guess that's okay. We'll just keep one of them. So if then the thing in our hand, oh, I'm out of space. Then if the thing in our hand is, so because we want the lowest value. So problem I'm going to run into here is that if it, in this case here, I didn't I just stored it, and so I'm not going to be grabbing both. So I guess I could keep track of the last here also. So let's suppose that if it's actually 0, so the first time around, I'm only going to send it once. Let's assume that. All right, so over here, if I subtract, so if I had a 5 and then I subtract 6, that means that the old value is better. So what we want to do is if, jump if greater than 0. So that's saying that the new number I got is actually smaller. So then we want to jump to store. If not, then we want to jump back to start. I think this makes sense. So I start out and I swap. So this thing gets both these things to be the same. If the thing in my hand, so let's make this thing be updated. Oh, I also never sent anything over here, but I ran out of space. So I guess I'll have to use this other one. So I put that in my hand. If it is 0, if it's 0, I'm only going to send it once. But what I want to do is if the original value I had is 0, I only want to send it down once. So we want to skip. Yeah, the lines of code isn't going to be great here. So, okay. So when we start, if the thing in our hand is 0, jump to send once. Otherwise, do this other thing we just did. Jump to start. And then send once is going to be... actually, yeah, I guess we don't have to store it then. Or no, we would have to store it. Yeah, okay. Is that. And then we'll just loop back to the beginning. So this says, if it comes through and what we had before, when we first started was 0, we want to jump down here. So I'm going to just grab it once, send it down, and then I'm done. Otherwise, if it's not 0, so the second time through it would not be 0. So it's going to not do this first step. It's going to take the first thing, update the value, send it down. If the value I have is 0, then I'm good, and it's going to skip. Otherwise, it's going to send it down a second time because I want to do the math and then send it down so it can store it. Okay, so I think that makes sense for getting the lowest. But then we also need to get the highest. So similar thing, but we need to also send this over. So anytime we send down, we want to also send to the right. We potentially don't need to send it multiple times. No, I guess there'll be less code, I think, if I were to have this thing keep track of how many times just to send it. And then one more down here. And then this guy just has to move left, down. So here we're going to do the swap. If it's 0, do the store. Do the subtract. If it's less than 0, store. Jump back to the start. Storing is take the thing from above, store it, save it, jump back to the start. If you're done, swap, which is, let's see, so when do we jump to done? We don't. Wait, do we ever jump to done? No, okay. If, so we want to say if the thing that we get is 0. Oh, this is if everything we had in the beginning is, So we never actually get down to done. So this isn't, it's not done yet. So if we subtract, if the thing we get is 0. So here I said, get the value, send it down once. If it's 0, I think you're done. So here I need to have space for to send it down. So I need to get to done when Let's see, so save. If the value that I currently have is 0, then I want to keep it. Otherwise, subtract from the top. Okay, so I need to... How do I determine that the 0 I received is done? How interesting. Yeah, I'm out of space. I mean, I could add in code here, possibly, but I'm out of space. So I think I need to expand my program a little bit. Write the min value. Okay. So if I change this up a little bit. How can I do that? I mean, this works pretty well. Except for the done part. Except, I mean, this is subtract here. I think what I need to do is adjust this. So let's we're going to keep this stuff around. So let's put that over there so we don't, in case we want to get it back. I think we need to make this sort of be a storage spot. So it's not going to do any addition or subtraction in here. Maybe. So possibly what this thing will do is it will take whatever it's in its hand and save it. Swap and save, let's say. And then I guess we want to start. Oh, yeah, and I guess with lines of code, we can put these on the same lines as long as it's not too long. Interesting. So it's possible. I forgot you could do that. So that might save me a little bit of lines of code. In terms of like being able to add more stuff in here. Okay, so let's think about that. Maybe we can. So this thing was, the issue was is getting to the done. But even then, like I wanted to do subtraction first. So I guess I could send it down 3 times. Will I have room for that? It'll only be 2 more commands. Okay, so let's try that first before we try and rewrite the whole thing. So so send twice is now the thing. So we're going to, initially I want to send it down. It's going to send it down twice or 3 times. So I guess I have to send it right. Okay, so we're short on spots, but let's say send 2. And so that means we can make this a little smaller. But I still might change my idea to what I was talking about before, or what I was about to talk about. So send down, I'll have to send, I'll send right. You have to send right a couple times too. We'll try it. And now we're out of spots. Oh, we can do this. There. And then now we can move right. Oh no, I guess we don't need to do it again. Okay, we're good. Oh, we have to go. There we go. Move down. That's what I was trying to find. Okay. Send it down twice. No, I don't need this. I don't need this here. So this is send it twice. Start. It's a thing in our hand. I'm so confused. I'm not even sure what this is supposed to do. Wait, let me think about it. So the thing comes in. If the thing, if what's in my hand is already there, I want to just send 2 down. Otherwise, if it's not already 0, so if we already had a number before, we want to get the value from above. And then we want to send it down here twice. Send it to the right twice. And then if the value I received is 0. Okay, so I think I need to actually move this to here. And you'll see in a second why I'm thinking that. So if I already have a number 0, it means I know I want to store it. So continue down. Send 2. Right. So take the thing from above, put it in the register, and then send it down just the one time. Right. And then otherwise, grab it and then send it in one direction one time. So if I had a dog interruption. All right, so let me rethink about this. So if the value that I have is 0, then I've sent it down and over, and I'm good. If the value isn't 0, I want to send it 2 more times in both directions, and then jump back to the start. So then down here, what I want to do first is if what I have in my hand is 0, I know I just want to store it. So it's only going to send it to me once. So it jumps down to store, which is put the thing in my hand, save it, go back to the beginning. And then swap. So I might be able to optimize that because I have the swap here. We'll see. Otherwise, what I want to do is just accept the thing from above because I want to see if it's 0. So move up into my hand. I'm going to run out of space pretty quick. If the thing in my hand is 0, then I want to jump to done, which is going to swap. So take the thing from backup and send it down. Okay. If the thing that I just received, if the first number I received is not 0, then I want to go back to then I want I'm going to run out of space. Because what I want to do is I want to get the back of my hand, but I want to put it back in. So I really want like a swap and then save. But you can't do both of those. Is there any way I can get one line of code out of here? So I talked about the swap and save here as maybe not needing it. Let me see. Because here if I'm storing it, I'm taking the thing, putting it in my hand, and then I'm saving it, but then I'm swapping and saving it again. So I might not need that behavior if I always end with the value I want in my hand. Then I don't need to swap, I can just save. Let's try to see if we can pull that off. So,